Hey everybody, this is Christine with CocoaDaisy, and I'm excited to share some ideas on how to use the planner kit from the Wisdom and Wonder collection. This is such a pretty collection. I love the florals in this. I love the colors in this. I think it's absolutely perfect for the month of January. It's soft and serene and beautiful without being cold, which I like. So there's a warmth to it that I think is really nice. And I think the artwork is very fun. So as far as the planner kit, so a couple of things that I did is, so I'm using this, for this example, I'm using my A5 inserts, and I created a pocket page. You guys have seen me do this often, but I used in the planner kit, you get two adhesive pockets, and I used the larger one for the stickers. I added some of the pattern papers. I think this stripe is one of my absolute favorite papers. But I used this for this side of the pocket because I wanted something that was kind of plain for me to put the pocket on so that I didn't get a lot of patterns showing through it, because I liked the image on the pocket so much. So I did this. And then on the other side, which I want to make sure you understand that the dashboards are not part of the planner kit. It's just what I did for my example. But I loved how that looked. I cut it down just a little bit. That is the A5 size. So if you get the dashboards, you get the A5 and the personal size. I will use these and turn them into bookmarks sometimes. Cut them down a little bit. They make great tags. I love this one, the resolutions, because last year's goals deserve a sequel, which I think is really funny. And then, of course, the larger version of that. Some of these are beautiful just to frame and put in your creative space. They're so pretty. But obviously they're meant to be dividers and other things in your planner if you want to use them that way. And that is what I did on the back of the pattern paper from the planner kit. So just to be clear, these are not part of the planner kit. They are separate, but lots of things that you can do with them. So just kind of give you an idea of how I set up my daily pages. I stamp the different sections out there. I added a little tab here with gratitude journal. These on the sticker sheet are actually meant, you can use these just as labels if you want, but they are meant to work with the tabs, just FYI. And then I added the date stamp on there. There's a couple of date stamps. Oh, and in this month's, we get this beautiful large set of vellum number stickers, which it would be, if you are kind of doing a bullet journal or you create your own spread for planning, would be really fun to use these as the dates. I almost used it there. I thought that would be kind of cool, but I'm gonna save them for I think my memory keeping pages. And then of course some of the pet stickers. These are really pretty as well. And you can just tell that my sunshine just went away. And we have a really nice large, this is a large sticky notepad. And I added some of the washi tape to it. I just thought it was kind of fun. So you have the months and the days of the week on here. So, and it's a little bit of, it's not the skinny washi, it's the thinner. And I just thought that looked kind of neat on there. And then there's a fun blue pen, and it has a beautiful blue ink. I like that. And it says it's a 0.4. So it is more on the fine side, but it writes really well. I like the Sarasa ones. Those are nice. And then you also get, How fun is the little clip? I love these, and I love this beautiful kind of almost nude color. I feel like I'll be able to use that all the time. But I find that I really do like using this just kind of like on the side of a page to tuck extra notes in, reminders, things like that. I use that a lot. If I don't use this one of these clips, I have other clips. I tend to do that pretty much every month. And then something else I wanted to show you. So I did a little layout using the supplies in a week's notebook. And I did this because I wanted to highlight to you the change. So we changed our notebooks. This is exciting. We now have a regular, it will have a craft color cover like always. This is just my sample, but it no longer has the calendar, the tiny calendar on the front. We've added a few pages. We were able to add a few pages, yay. And we now have a full calendar in every one of the notebooks. So this is the week's size. And I just wanted to show you how I kind of decorated that. So I added the tab, one of the die cuts. I ran that washi tape down the side. I thought that was really cute. Some of the alpha stickers on here with some of the little reminder stickers. I think that's a pet, that one's a pet sticker. This one is a pet sticker as well. And I just laid that right over top of the washi tape. And that is a decent size for a week's. So this is similar in size to a Hobonichi Weeks. This is our week's size. And yeah, look at how great that calendar is. That's totally usable. So every one of our notebooks now has a 2-page calendar spread in it. Isn't that great? I love that. So just kind of nice. And then everything else is pretty much the same. Then the only other change is at the very end, there's a notes section. So because when it comes to booklets, you can't just add 2 pages, you have to add 4. So they go up in increments of 4. So for us to do those 2, then we had 2 others. And so we just added the notes at the end. So kind of a fun way to add that calendar in there. I hope you guys love that. But yeah, that's the beginning of what will eventually be my setup for January. So this idea that I have, and I'm using one of our B6 notebooks. This idea was inspired by Rachel's class that she did, our online class that she did in October, our fun celebration weekend of classes. And those should be, if they're not up for you to watch again on our YouTube channel, they will be soon. So make sure you check those out. So you can go back and revisit those and enjoy them if you haven't seen them, or watch them again if you want to try and follow along and do the projects that we did. But this one, as I mentioned, is inspired by Rachel's class, where she talked about daily glimmers and wins and glimmers, I think. And I did a little bit of a twist on that as far as putting it under the umbrella of goals for the new year, or resolutions. I like to call them more as goals, because I think it makes it feel a little bit more attainable. And then by saying daily wins and graces, I'm giving myself grace to not be so driven to achieve that. Like if I don't do them every day, it's fine. And just kind of work from there. In fact, I have a little paragraph on here, and it says, as I move through this year, I want to measure progress, not just by big milestones, but by the quiet, consistent wins that move me closer to my goals. Each small action, a list checked off, a creative spark followed, a healthy choice made, is a win worth celebrating. And when the day doesn't go as planned, I'll look for the graces, the lessons tucked inside the setbacks, the patience learned, the gentle reminders to rest and realign. 2026 isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about noticing how daily wins build momentum and how grace keeps me grounded while I grow. And I feel that makes goals attainable, right? Every day you wake up and you look at that goal and you try to meet it. But if you don't, that's okay, because life absolutely will get in the way. And so I like this idea. And then you can track them. And so the thought is you can track them every day. You can write down, okay, so for instance, one of them that I have is I want to take a walk every single day. But as I've already started to kind of do that, there are days that it just doesn't happen. And I think still tracking, okay, why didn't it happen? And then that gives me the grace of like, well, today was just insanely busy and I wasn't able to fit it in. And so it's not a failure. It's just, it didn't work. It didn't happen. And I love that idea. And I love that idea of then tracking both of them. You made it, you did it that day. Fantastic. The next day, you were only able to go down to the block and come back. Well, that's still a win in my book. Write it down. And so I feel that we can celebrate those small little wins, but then also give us the grace that we need sometimes each day. Sometimes we put way too much pressure on ourselves, right? And so I created this little spread like I said, this is in the B6 notebook. And this is using the journaling kit. So I used a few of the rub-ons, the 2026 and a couple of the snowflakes. I used some of the vellum stickers on here. I love these alphas. The little "and" that I just typed up and put in there. And then this pretty saying down here, "You are never too old to set another goal." That's from the vellum stickers as well. And then the celebrate, that is not part of the kit. That is using the 4x6 stamp subscription stamp set. But I just thought it went really well in there because it's like, look, we're going to celebrate all of it. And then I think it makes sense to add kind of like not really a mantra, but more of a focus of what you're doing with this. So I like that. Put that in there. And then, before we wrap this up, so that's my idea, and that's using the journaling kit. And what I may end up doing, because I use a ring-bound planner, I may end up taking this apart and taking these pages, so just the weekly, and cutting them out and using it almost like tracker pages separate in my ring-bound setup. So I use my stripe pages in my A5 to keep track of my photos, but I think I may start doing this like as a thing like all year. And then I'll probably keep this. I may even laminate this. And then each month have a different set of stripe pages that I track that on. I think that would be really, really fun. And I like the fact that it's a different size. So I could tuck this other size in, like say with my weekly spreads or at the beginning of my daily pages. And it just adds that other fun layer because y'all know I love all the different sizes in my planner. So I'm thinking that's what I might do with that. I think that would be kind of cool. So, but I also wanted to show you all of our notebooks now will have a 2-page calendar spread in them. So this is the B6. You can take a peek at the size and how that looks. We did away with the tiny calendar on the front. So now you get the beautiful artwork on the front and you get a larger calendar on the inside. And then because when you do a booklet, you can't raise it by 2-page increments. You have to do it by 4. The other 2 pages are notes at the end. So that worked out really well. So I encourage you to try something like that and make sure you check out Rachel's class because it's really, really wonderful as far as what she talks about doing. And it's just a wonderful thing to do, I think, for yourself, for self-care as well. So let's talk some more about resolutions and goals and all of that. So when I showed you my example of what I wanted to do as far as tracking some things, some goals that I have for 2026 in using the journaling kit, I wanted to kind of take that a different way, but kind of spell it out more in a journaling kind of way. Does that make sense? So this is the deluxe journaling kit that I'm using for this. I also wanted to show you some great ideas on how to use the beautiful pattern papers that come in this kit. That's probably one of the questions we get on a really regular basis is the larger pattern papers, like the ones that are folded and so on, that you get in the deluxe journaling kit and in the planner kit. What do you use them for? What are some ideas on how to use those papers? And the patterns this month are absolutely gorgeous. This stripe paper is one of my, probably going to be one of my all-time favorites. I love it so much. So kind of taking all of that in my head when I wanted to create a journaling spread for you. So obviously, a lot of us think about changes that we want to make, different things we want to do. The new year brings all of those kind of ideas to mind, right? And so New Year's resolutions, I'm keeping them attainable. Let's put it that way. So it's small stuff, but it's things that I've been working on that I really want to try and focus more on starting with the new year. So I wanted to make a spread that highlights them, that gives the resolutions. It gives kind of, what is it going to achieve for me? What's the purpose of the resolution? And then some action steps that you can do to try and achieve that every day, right? Every day or every week. This is a weekly thing. These are daily things. And so I'm using my A5 size notebook. And what I did is I started with one of the sticky notes, and then I added kind of a little, kind of the encouragement paragraph, I guess. Maybe that's a good, I'm trying to think and I have one on the page that I did for the journaling kit as well for my project. And I'm trying to think, if you know what I'm talking about, put it in the comments below. What would you call that paragraph? Because I'm not sure what to call that. But so it says, a new year, a clean page. Each day is a chance to begin again, braver, lighter, and filled with hope. The quiet kind that reminds us good things are always just ahead. So it's just kind of an encouraging, like I said, it's not really a mantra. It's a mission statement. I don't know. You guys tell me, put it in the comments below. Let me know what your idea of what to call those kinds of paragraphs, because I would love to know. So what I did, I wanted to have a big, bold New Year resolutions on the top. And we have some great alphas in here with the sticker sheets, which I can't find at the moment. I had them here, but I don't know what I did with them. Anyway, so, but they're only this big. I wanted them larger. Now, if I were great at drawing or calligraphy, I could write the big New Year. I could doodle that. I could do that. But I wanted some pattern and some color in it. So what I did is I actually typed out New Year in big, bold black letters, and I printed that out. And then I cut them out and I laid them over top of this pattern, traced them, and then cut them out again. If you have a light table, you could, depending on the paper, it might shine through and you could trace it that way. I don't know. But so I have this beautiful big block print of the pattern paper. And I thought that's a fun way to use the pattern paper too. So if you need a large chunky alpha, you can do that. So I cut those out. I put those there. I typed up the resolutions and added it. And then I've got some of the vellum stickers on here, some of the pet stickers. These are pet stickers here. This one is here as well. One of the die cuts. from the die cut pack. I added a strip of the pretty snowflake washi along the bottom. So I had a lot of fun decorating this page, and then I went in and I added my 1, 2, 3, the three big resolutions for the year. And so, like I said, I have one, which is take a walk every day. And what does that achieve? What does that do for me, right? It's a daily dose of fresh air and a clearer mind. It's just healthy for you to do. And then you have the action steps for each one. And then the same idea for reading, putting down the phone, no doom scrolling, putting the phone away and reading. I love to read, and I always feel like I never have time. Well, if I put away the phone and didn't do that for 15, 20 minutes, I could just read. It's much better for you. And then only work on creative projects on Fridays. This is something I've been trying to do for probably 3 or 4 years now, but we're gonna try again, right? And then I just added the little tab in there for resolutions for the new year. And I love how that turned out. And this is one of those things that I may actually, I have clear acrylic on my desk, and you can tuck things under there. And this is one of them that I may just so you have it as a daily reminder and just kind of tuck it under there. Or I may end up just leaving it in this particular notebook with all of my other goodies. So the other thing that I created, oh, there's my stickers. Right. The other thing that I created is this fun pocket. So I took one of the folded pieces of pattern paper, and I think this one is gorgeous. I love the deep, deep, deep navy background with the owl and the floral print on there. It's folded where it was folded. The only thing I did was round the corners. And then I took the striped paper and I cut out an angled piece to create the pockets. And then I think the next time I do a live crop, I'm going to show you guys how to make one of these. It's not hard. Basically, all you do is score a thin, score in just a little ways from the edge all the way around. And then you fold it. You use some good, strong adhesive on those little folded edges. And then that creates your pocket. And so I was able to use that beautiful striped paper. I have a place to put all of my stickers, which is where they were hiding. I forgot I had them in here. And then I can also tuck my little sticky notepad in there, or if you have a different notepad, I can put that in there. If you have little clips, you can add those on there. If you want to wrap some washi around like the journaling card, or if you wanted to wrap that around, you can even reuse some of our packaging, because these are kind of glossy, these backing cards. You could wrap a little bit of washi around that and tuck it in there. I used a couple of the cute little die cuts and added them on there. And now I have this great pocket that would actually go around. So this is the A5 size notebook. So you can see how that fits right in and goes around, almost makes a cover for it. Isn't that cute? So you have the pockets, and then you have your A5 notebook. How fun is that? Isn't that cool? So you can do that with any of those larger folded papers, and you can have that in there and you can use it that way. Isn't that cool? You could put this on the outside if you wanted, but I feel like it looks kind of nice sandwiched in between the pockets, because it can hold all of your stickers. It can hold any of your cute little note cards, any receipts, ephemera, anything like that. And I think that turned out really cute. You could also make the pockets out of the pretty vellum that is in here. I like that idea too. That would be really, really pretty to make it out of the vellum as well. But so some fun ideas on how to use the beautiful pattern paper that was in the kit, and an idea for achieving those New Year's goals or those New Year's resolutions.